Dr. Akiva Gamliel, BelkDean of Jewish Studies at the Noach Torah Institute, LLC. Welcome to Gematria and Shemot. And today, dear ones, we're in Parshat Tezaveh. That is Exodus chapter 27, verse 20, through chapter 30, verse 10. Our discussion is entitled Forever. Olam means eternal or forever. And the Gematria of Olam is 146. The Ayin is 70, the Vav is 6, the Lamed is 30, and the final Mem is 40. Now, the word Olam is written 60 times in Ha Torah: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And the number 60 represents the Hebrew letter of the alphabet, the letter Samech. Samech equals 60. Now, we teach that the letter Samech and the letter Mem are eternal letters. And the reason for that is because the Samech goes around in a circle. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. And we say the same thing about the final Mem. It goes around in a circle. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. Now, when we're talking in terms of forever, we also recognize mystically that the word of the Lord, that the observances of Ha Torah are eternal. They're eternal mitzvot, eternal commands. And so we see the word ha-mitzvah in Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 28. That would be 531, the KJV. I'm sorry, we didn't give the numbering system here, folks. Anyway, it means the observance or the command. Now, in front of ha-mitzvah is the word kol. Kol means all or every. And so it's referring to every mitzvah is like one. It's referring to all mitzvot of Ha Torah are Olam, forever, eternal. All right. Now, as we look into this week's Parshat, and we study the Kohanim, or the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and that was Aaron, and we study the sons of Aaron, the Kohanim, the priests, we recognize that 4 times in this week's Parshat, the word Olam is used. And that's pretty unique because when you consider out of all the scriptures in Ha Torah, only 60 have the word Olam. So in this week's Parshat, almost 10%, not quite, are in this week's Parshat. We find them in Exodus 27:21, 28:43, 29:9, and 29:28. Now, when we go to 29:28, we see these words, Lahok Olam. And this means for a statute forever, or a statute forever. It's eternal. And I encourage you to look at the notes because the notes really share the essence of what our discussion is about. Our discussion centers in on the fact that there's going to be a third temple, and that in the third temple there's going to be, it's going to be right there in the city of Jerusalem, in the place that God has chosen for His holy temple. And there's going to be Kohanim, there's going to be priests, and they're going to be descendants from the tribe of Levi, from specifically Aaron and his sons. Okay, that's the only ones that can be priests. And this week in our discussion, we recognize that God has established Aaron and his sons and his seed after him and after them as priests forever. Okay, and so it can't be changed. They're the only ones that can be priests. And so we recognize that in our discussion. Now, when we come to the very last one, Exodus 29:28, and we come to the word Lahok Olam, for an eternal statute, we recognize that God is giving a portion of the burnt offering of the sacrifice to the officiating priest. So when we bring a burnt sacrifice, that portion of it will go to the priest. And the Lord says in Exodus that this is a statute forever. So we recognize that the priest's vestments are going to be made again, and the priests are going to be reestablished again, and that sacrifice and offerings are going to be offered again. Oh, I hear some saying, oh, I don't believe that. Well, have you looked at Isaiah chapter 56, verse 7, when it says, even them will I bring to my house, my holy mountain, and my house will be called a house of prayer, and that we're going to have sacrifices and burnt offerings? Well, you check it out, Isaiah 56, 7. And so we recognize here the Gematria of 284. This is the same Gematria of V'ni Varichu, which means and blessing through you. So when God was speaking to Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, and he says, go, get out, get away from your father, get away from your land, get away from your relatives, go to the land that I want you to go to, walk through it, check it out, and that you'll be a blessing. And that I will bless those that bless you, and I will curse those that curse you, and through you there will be a blessing for all peoples. So we see that in the observance of giving the portion, mystically, the observance of giving the portion to the priest is a way in which we each can be blessed, because it's V'ni Varachu. It's a blessing, and that is how God can bless us. So, dear ones, I want to thank you for joining with me in our Gematria discussion and encourage you, please study the notes. We go into a lot more detail.